So yeah, and recently I've learned that I'm like Gendervoid fits me. So that was an interesting one for a while. Because so the reason I didn't feel like a woman was because I was getting that same feeling as a man where I'm just like, I don't feel this connection to womanhood in the kind of the same way that I didn't have a connection to manhood. And I had heard the term agender before. And I was like, that sounds close. It sounds like I kind of just don't have a concept of what gender is. An internal concept. Like, I can recognize it in other people, but I don't have it. It's not, I don't recognize it in me. But for some reason, agender, just saying, I don't have gender, didn't feel quite right. And then I found the term gender void, which, I'm not going to stay in the same place as this person, we're going to blow up. Which gender void basically means, it basically, for many intents and purposes, means the same thing as agender. But it, for some reason, just... What have you done? Oh, why did you go down there? All right, I'm just gonna... airdrop. The term gender void gives this added feeling of like, it's a void, but there is a something to that nothingness. That it's like a black hole, or it's like space. As a concept, it is a thing, even though it is nothingness. It is an antithesis to the existence of gender. And as soon as I like started thinking about it that way, it was just like something clicked. And I'm like, yeah, this feels real right. It feels like there's a color to my gender, my lack of gender, somehow, paradoxically. And yes, gender void equals void burn. That is actually legitimately, I'm a Defender Titan right now. I'm purple. Everything about the void in Destiny. Destiny actually helped me figure that out. The void in Destiny being purple helps me come to terms with my gender. And I honestly can't explain why. I don't get it. But that's how it went down. The void is purple in me. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to make sense to other people. But it's I can't say that word, synesthesia, understanding of gender versus the spatial and visual thing. Yes, that's 100% correct. There is a feeling to it that it very much is like how people see a color when they hear certain music. I see the color purple when I conceptualize my lack of gender. It's bizarre. I don't know what's up with that. Maybe there's some metaphysical property to the universe that causes that. I don't know. I don't think it really matters all that much. But I did see, actually, because my mind's in Destiny, I did see Mita's thing about the void in Destiny being about dark matter. That's actually kind of something, like, yeah, that's why this helps me figure that out, because and like maybe gender, like, I don't necessarily know if when I say the word void, my what I'm saying with that necessarily means actual, like, non-existence, you know. It may be a semantically inaccurate term, but it's one of, it gets the point across that my gender, whereas male and female and other non-binary identities feel like regular matter to me, like maybe photons, neutrons, electrons, all that kind of stuff. Like that's kind of how I see, and protons. That's how I see a lot of genders, most genders that I'm aware of. Whereas with that comparison, my gender feels like dark matter. which is something that exists and has an impact on our universe. We just don't really understand it yet, and it doesn't interact with other particles in the same way. Dark matter's not attracted to protons, I think. I don't know. We're starting to get into territory where you're going to want to go ask Ashley Nova things. Also, can we get a shout out to Ashley Nova in the chat? She's a physicist, so she knows things. She may be able to help me out with my understanding of void and my gender. But yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. So my void is this other particle. Oop, I never opened this. And so I'm the first person you've heard talk about Gendervoid, so you're really grateful for the insight. Thank you. Yeah, it's a term that I only heard recently, and it's such. I think it's a very newly coined term. I think the earliest thing that I could find in my searches was a Gendervoid flag on DeviantArt from 2015, and there's really not a hell of a lot of discussion out there about Gendervoid. So in identifying as Gendervoid, I'm kind of on the forefront of that. So I'm in this weird position where like I feel kind of unqualified to be the one to decide what Gendervoid means, like generally. Like I 100% am a proponent of things can mean different things. So other people who identify as Gendervoid may not feel the same way that I do. But yeah, no, there's not a lot of information out there. Oh boy. And even to the point where like the flag that I found, I was like, I don't feel like this represents anything. It was just, it looks like the trans flag, except it's black, blue, and gray. And like I've described, my gender is black and purple. It's my channel branding. The blackness of nothingness and the purpleness of the flavor of the void. Which is why I went and designed my own Gendervoid flag. And I feel like it represents the way that I feel about Gendervoid much more. And the two colors of it actually specifically mean something. Whereas the explanation on the DeviantArt page that I saw basically just said, like I went looking for like, what does the blue mean? What does the gray mean? And what does the black mean? Like I figured the black means nothingness, but what do the other two colors mean? And the only explanation that came along with it was the colors mean the void. And I was like, that doesn't, because the trans flag is pink means female, blue means male, and white means non-binary. Like it's representing something with that color. It's like it's, and then the rainbow flag of the general pride flag is just the diversity of different identities. The bi flag, also similarly to the trans flag, blue, purple, and pink is male, female, and non-binary. The non-binary flag, which I've got on my wall over here, is I don't remember exactly what they are, but it's yellow, I want to say, is gender queer, white is agender, purple is identities in between the binary, so like a mix of male and female, and black, I don't remember what black was. It was something different, or I think black was falling outside of the binary, so not in between, but on the spectrum. So once again, in that flag, all the colors mean something. So that was why I designed a Gendervoid flag, was because I wanted that to be the case for that. So basically, the way I thought of it, so it's three stripes. It looks like the bi flag, or no, it looks like the pan flag. It's just they're all equal, and a purple stripe in the middle with 2 black stripes on the outside. And the way that I see that is the black is the nothingness. It is the void of gender. Oh boy. All right. Do not kill me. Whereas the purple is the flavor. It's the distinction from a gender that gives Gendervoid a flavor. The dark matter, the matter to within the nothingness, that is within it. The reason that it's the center stripe is because it's within the nothingness. So I put a lot of thought into what I designed. I picked a really, really dark purple so that it's almost black, but it still has this hint of flavor, you know? Zero! Hey! Is your stream over? Are you done? Or are you just stopping by? How is it going? And yeah, I'm really proud of the flag. Like, and I kind of like this kind of gets into what I was talking about earlier with like feeling a little weird about being like an authority on things and being in the front and having attention on me. Like, I hesitated on doing that because I was like, I don't want to be necessarily like, I don't want credit for being the designer of the Gendervoid flag. Like, I just want it to be a thing, so I made it. But I don't want people like waving it around and be like, yeah, Mara Jen's flag. Like, that's not what it is. Like, it just exists now. Just like my gender, it just exists now. So, but then at the same time, like, it does have such a meaning to me, and I did put so much thought into it that I hope it does resonate with people, because I want to have a flag for Gendervoid. Like, I would feel so happy if I went to Pride and saw somebody wearing a Gendervoid flag as a cape. I'd be like, holy shit! We do exist! Just floating around in space somewhere, repping the Void community. Yeah. But Gendervoid for me, specifically, for me, my Gendervoidness has a feminine flavor to it. So I'm also a Taoist, and with Taoism, think of it splits things into twos. So there's yin and yang, there's light and dark, it boils existence down into 2 opposite forces, which is not binary. It's dualism is not binary. It's just kind of a it's really hard to describe. There's all go read the Tao Te Ching if you haven't already. It explains everything pretty well. It's very succinct and very easy to understand, like shockingly easy to understand. So my experience of gender falls very, like, it's squarely within yang, which is the black side of the yin and yang. The white side yin is the male side versus the female side, the creating versus the changing, the light versus the dark, the something versus the nothing. The existence of a nothing is something that I feel. Taoism literally does explain me everything. That's the point, because the Tao is the everything that exists and doesn't exist. But it also the Tao that can be described as not the true Tao, yada yada. But anyway, the point is, with my experience with Gendervoid is specifically it has a flavor to it. The absence of something has a flavor to it. And oddly enough, purple is Yetz or Tingle said it's kind of a synesthesia feeling. Like, some people can see color or like taste color, like in music and stuff. And it's this weird thing that you can't really explain to people. Not grape, purple. Yes. I need to not pick this up yet. Otherwise, it's stressful times. Oh boy, I lost something.
Grab the sword.
But basically, my experience of my lack of gender has this synesthetic, I think, kind of feeling of purple, of dark, of black hole, of space, you know? And actually, this was something I should have mentioned when I was explaining it earlier, was that not only... So another thing is that I'm plural. That's also something that I went into very much in depth. I'm going to have a specific VOD of that section where I explained that, because I have a dissociative disorder and I have multiple parts that are distinct personalities. Those parts do have gender. One of mine is a girl, a little girl. It's due to trauma. She is, well, has been suspended as my little, who I would have been as a kid if I had known that I was a girl when I was a kid. And my other parts are mostly all female, with two exceptions. So the way I think of it is that I, as a whole, am gender void. And then within that void, within the space that is me, their genders are the stars and galaxies and the things within space that make that up. And they contribute to the purple kind of feeling to it, if that makes any sense. So like when I think of space, I think like purple nebulas and whatnot. So that's just kind of, that's how I've come to understand my experience of gender. And it's, that's the reason I didn't identify as agender, was because agender didn't speak that to me, you know.